What's up, everybody?
What is up? Happy Friday! How are you all doing?
Happy Friday. Happy Friday
Welcome
to you.
to another episode of Daily Gaming News with your hosts, Kaisa.
And the other host, Marrone, as we deliver an hour of news going on in the gaming industry. And we have some awesome things that we're going to dive into today.
We're going to start off with Sony making it official. PlayStation 5 won't natively support the PS1, 2, and 3.
Also going to be talking about how Sony reportedly is making some costly moves in order to get more consoles on store shelves.
You can pre-order the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S starting Tuesday, September 22nd.
And then you also will be able to pre-order the Oculus Quest 2 starting today.
We'll get into how a bot bought dozens of RTX 3080 units before consumers could even grab them.
Ridiculous. And then we are going to be also discussing how Nintendo Switch launches in Brazil, and that is the first Nintendo product to go on sale in the country since 2015.
We'll talk about Oculus Quest 2 pre-orders, but also at around 1:30, we're going to get into the latest Cyberpunk 2077 Night City Wire episode 3 that we're going to watch all along with you to live react.
That's right, because you know on the Daily Gaming News, we're so hyped for Cyberpunk 2077. So when they dropped the latest episode on the Night City Wire, it was like, we got to do this. We got to watch it.
Like, yeah, let's watch this. This sounds like a good idea.
So, and of course, as always, some guesses were already thrown up in there. What's in the mug, everybody?
What's
in the mug?
Cheers.
I see Kai's thinking maybe every other day it's been water, so let me go ahead and throw out that water guess again.
Not today. Not water today.
Ooh. So let's jump right into this first bit of information that I'm sure upsets quite a few customers out there. But I think it was kind of understood with the way they were talking about the hardware, as Sony has officially stated that the PlayStation 5 will not natively support the PlayStation 1, 2, or 3.
Wednesday's deluge of PlayStation 5 news mostly revolved around brand new content launching alongside the console on November 12th. Lost in the fray was a key detail that confirmed an August leak about PS5, its lack of sweeping backward compatibility support.
And in an interview on Wednesday, Japanese gaming magazine Famitsu asked Sony Interactive Entertainment chief Jim Ryan about the new console's compatibility with the PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 discs or downloads. And Ryan explained that PlayStation 5 specific engineering meant that the design team was mostly focused on the simultaneous use of high-speed, solid-state drives and the new DualSense controller.
This prevented Sony from delivering compatibility with older consoles, Ryan told Famitsu, even though he made clear that Sony wanted to support PlayStation 4's 100 million players by developing compatibility with 99% of PS4 games since, quote, we thought that they would like to play PS4 titles on the PS5 as well. Why would anybody play this?
This announcement doesn't clarify whether PlayStation 1 games purchased for use on PS4 will transfer to the PlayStation 5. It also doesn't mention the existing ability for players to stream older generation games to PlayStation 4 from the PlayStation Now cloud subscription service, or whether we should expect that functionality will seamlessly transfer to PS5 in November. SIE reps didn't immediately respond to these questions about those possible features.
Ryan's current statement about affection for PS4 backward compatibility is curious, considering he has previously scoffed at affection for older console generations, as he told Time magazine in 2017.
He said this, that when we've dabbled with backwards compatibility, I can say it is one of those features that is much requested, but not actually used much. That, and I was at a Gran Turismo event recently where they had a PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and PS4 games, and the 1 and 2 games looked ancient. Like, why would anybody play this?
Ryan's take about that older generation probably wasn't helped by lackluster PlayStation Classic sales in 2018, although those were arguably less about classic games and more about some iffy execution.
And the PlayStation 4 wasn't the company's first console to not ship with native backward compatibility support for disc-based games, along with incompatibility with download-only software that debuted on the PlayStation 3. Which meant that you had to hold on to your old console to access those diskless games. This followed the PlayStation 3 receiving a major revision early in its lifetime to remove support for PS2 discs. And this was due to the feature running on PlayStation 2, which was known as the Emotion Engine architecture, built early into the PlayStation 3s, which then was dumped to cut costs.
Comparatively, Microsoft has aggressively courted fans of older games with a backward compatibility sales pitch on both Xbox One and Xbox Series consoles. That means gamers in the Xbox ecosystem can expect native access to previous purchases, whether in disc form or as a digital purchase, across multiple console generations and resolution and performance upgrades on a game-by-game basis. We're all still waiting to hear whether PS4 games that struggled with performance issues might receive PS5-specific upgrades, though the PS4 Pro's optional boost mode already made it clear that certain games, like Bloodborne, would need special patches to take advantage of the newer hardware.
With Wednesday's dump of PlayStation 5 news, it didn't go into further detail about these additional boosts to PlayStation 4 games as played on the upcoming console. Instead, what we learned is that some major PlayStation 5 games, particularly Horizon Forbidden West and Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, will simultaneously launch on the PlayStation 4 along with the PlayStation 5. And this appears to run somewhat counter to Sony's recent comments about maintaining generations instead of supporting an Xbox-style forward-compatible plan for its biggest games.
I'm wondering what the chat thinks, if any of you, play some of these older titles, if you expect that you should be able to play those older titles on your newer consoles. Personally, I am totally cool with, not being able to play older titles on newer consoles. I'm planning on buying the PlayStation 5 because I want to play the new games, because I want to experience next gen, not necessarily because I want to experience the nostalgia of older games.
And that's the thing, when he comments on the fact that it just wasn't used much, it's a highly requested feature, but based on the data that I guess they've collected by seeing its action, it's not a lot there, and that kind of makes sense to me. I feel like games are coming out so fast, and they're just every month there's some new title to play. That why would I go back and play this old game for a nostalgic experience that maybe will last a total of 30 minutes to an hour?
Right, it's not really relevant. And as for someone like myself, who I pretty much only play games once, I don't even play the new Game Plus editions of most games. I don't see any reason to go back into the older games. I could see why gamers request this a lot because they just like the idea of backwards compatibility, but I think they also don't understand how hard it is to actually have these older games run on these newer systems. The newer systems are pretty much completely different, and so in there has to be a sort of like emulator or some special way for that hardware to actually be able to play that old game. It's not just a matter of why can't you read this disc? Or are you just trying to cut something off from me, trying to cut off this access?
Totally. That's the thing too. That's what we'll have to wait and see. Does the PlayStation 5 work the way we see the PlayStation Now subscription service work, where you will have access to these games and be able to experience them, but it'll be more in that live streaming cloud service based way versus, hey, I have my old disc and I'm going to put it right in and it's going to work no problem.
Absolutely. So I'm wondering, if there's going to be any backlash about this online. I assume there's going to be some salty gamers, but I think those who are going to buy a PlayStation 5 are going to go ahead and buy it. And I don't think, the lack of backwards compatibility is really going to keep people from making the move to purchase this console. Yeah,
I have to agree. I think the rage of individuals trying to pre-order the PlayStation 5 when that went down lets you know it's not stopping anybody. And that's actually leading us into our next conversation, which is addressing the fact that it is being reported that Sony's has a very costly move to generate more PlayStation consoles on store shelves.
We've already seen that players are extremely anxious to get their hands on the PS5, with pre-orders going out of stock almost immediately on September 16th. Sony is anticipating high demand for the PlayStation 5 this holiday season, with the video game sales up in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So much so that it's planning to speed up shipments to the US via air freights.
So according to Daniel Ahmad, who is an analyst with Nico Partners, he says this, that Sony has already scheduled numerous flights with PlayStation 5 stock for the US in order to meet retail demand for the next-gen console over the holidays. Now, Ahmad states that he isn't sure whether it is 60 flights or 60 planes worth of flights being readied, but that this method of shipping will incur a bigger cost to Sony over the traditional shipping via the sea.
This is identical to what Nintendo did back in 2017 to meet the growing demand of the Nintendo Switch at the time. The company absorbed the additional cost in order to ensure 2 million Switch units were available to retail ahead of its launch in March of that year, which was only disclosed a few months later in an earnings report.
Now, back then, it was estimated that the cost of this shipping was around $45 more per unit. Now, in Nintendo's case, however, its profit margins can continue to get larger as the cost of components go down, as it has kept the Switch at $300 for over 3 years now, including during Black Friday. Consoles often sell at a loss from the launch as is, so it's not clear what the margins are on the PlayStation 5 as of yet.
Currently, we know that the company is preparing 2 versions of the console, one with a disk drive and one without. This is a little different to Microsoft's strategy, which we've covered with the Xbox Series S, not only removing the disk drive, but also shipping with less powerful components for a drastically reduced price of $299. In Sony's case, there's only a $100 difference between its standard PS5 and the digital version.
So, of course, we know that the PlayStation 4 has been a huge seller for Sony, shifting over 112 million units since its launch. Now that makes it Sony's second best selling system behind the PlayStation 2, which was 157 million. Sony has pledged to keep supporting the previous console for years to come.
I'm just imagining these planes full of PS5s because that's how they're being shipped.
Yeah.
I think that's crazy. That must be so expensive. I could see how it makes sense and there's going to be a payoff because, they really want to get these units out. But wow.
That is a big wow. It also goes to show that they're clearly aware of the demand for their console, and they are willing to take even more of a loss in order to get them there so that people can get them off the shelves and buy the things that will obviously cut down on the loss that they're taking per console, because we know the features that they've been offering with the of course the PlayStation Plus subscription services, the controllers, the headsets, the cameras, like all those extra things that don't cost as much as the console costs, they make up for. It really goes to show that I think this is their response to the agitation that seemingly took place by the majority of people hyped about this system on the internet yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever that debacle was.
I'm glad that they're taking this step, but I was kind of taken aback at how drastic it seemed. I understand, maybe shipping Switches by air because Switches are a lot smaller, but I think the PS5 is the largest console ever, or at least this gen is the largest ever. This is a big machine, so to ship this by air is very, very costly. I'm really impressed, at how eager they are to make sure that people get a hold of their own PS5.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. There's a lot to be said by the choice, just looking at it as a business practice, and one that, yes, of course, is about them getting more sales out there, but it's also on the side of consumers being able to acquire the item that they want, and not to suffer what a lot of people suffered with the Switch, and what even people were suffering with like the Oculus Quest, which was, hey, I'm ready to buy this thing, but I can't, and I've got to wait months before I'll ever see it.
Absolutely. But we're going to get into pre-orders for the Xbox Series X because hopefully next Tuesday, September 22nd, there isn't going to be a huge debacle when you try to pre-order your Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S.
So November 10th is what starts a new generation of console gaming. Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S will deliver players the most performant, immersive, compatible, and next-generation console gaming experience ever. This is from Xbox's website, by the way, so some of this language might feel a little biased.
Next week, beginning September 22nd, you'll be able to pre-order both Xbox Series X, their most powerful console ever made, and the Xbox Series X, their smallest console ever, delivering next-generation performance at a more affordable price. Xbox Series S and Series X will be available in 37 countries on November 10th and 41 countries by this holiday. You can secure your place in the next generation by pre-ordering Xbox Series X at $499 or Xbox Series S at $299, or for a low monthly price through Xbox All Access. The Xbox blog site also recommends that maybe you could grab both if that's your thing.
Interesting, Xbox. Interesting. So beginning on September 22nd, you're going to be able to pre-order the Xbox Series S and X online from the following retailers in the United States. We have Microsoft, Amazon, Best Buy, GameStop, Walmart, Target, Sam's Club, Newegg, and other participating retailers.
In Canada at 8 a.m. Pacific time, the Microsoft Store, Amazon, Walmart, Best Buy, EB Games, The Source, and other participating retailers.
For you UK consumers, it's going to be the Microsoft Store, Game, Amazon, Dixon's, Curry's PC, Argos, John Lewis, Smith's Toys, Very, AO, Tesco, Simply Game, Shop2, and others.
In Australia at 8 a.m., the Microsoft Store, JB Hi-Fi, EB Games, Telstra, Harvey Norman, and other participating retailers. And in New Zealand, also at 8 a.m., Microsoft Store, JB Hi-Fi, EB Games, Spark, and others. So
across Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, you can pre-order online starting at 9 a.m. CEST at the Microsoft Store, Amazon, Media Market, GameStop, FNAC. This is a store I can't pronounce, so I'm not going to attempt to do that, and other participating retailers.
And they're copy-paste it.
Yeah, so retailers and availability may differ by country. So for in-store pre-order availability, you need to check with your retailer.
Pre-order is also available via the Xbox All Access program. Xbox All Access is your all-inclusive pass to Xbox where you can get the next-gen Xbox console of your choice, plus 24 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, with over 100 high-quality games and soon an EA Play membership from $24.99 a month for 24 months with no upfront cost. I sound like an advertisement.
Right?
As with their standalone console purchasing, you'll be able to pre-order Xbox All Access starting on September 22nd, aligned with regional start times at the following retailers.
Listening to you say that, I'm like, man, that's a really good deal. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. It's like, wow, it just, no upfront costs. I walk out with a next-gen console at $25. So that Xbox All Access starts in the US at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Australia 8 a.m., New Zealand 8 a.m., and UK 8 a.m. Look at stores from Best Buy, GameStop, Microsoft Store, Telstra in Australia, Spark in New Zealand, and Smith's Toys, as well as Game in the UK.
In Denmark, Finland, Norway, and Sweden, it's all at 9 a.m. their local time, and I can't say any of these names. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to copy-paste them in the chat.
Absolutely. So pre-orders with the Xbox All Access will not be available in Canada, France, Poland, and South Korea on September 22nd. So if you're in those regions, we're sorry, but the program is going to be available in these countries before the Xbox Series X and Series S launch this holiday, and there will be more details that Xbox will share soon.
Xbox writes, we hope you're as excited as we are to usher in the next generation of console gaming with Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S. We'll be bringing you more details on both consoles, details on games, and so much more as we get closer to launch on November 10th. I
feel like every bit of information they put in there was purposefully detailed because of the debacle from PlayStation's pre-order, without question.
It was so clear, this country, this time, these stores, they were very deliberate in, hammering that home, also making sure the prices were very clear. Yep. This is what you're going to buy this at. If you're going to do the subscription thing, this is how you can do that. I hope this goes very smoothly. I am a little concerned that the same thing is going to happen as with the 3080 cards and potentially the PS5 in a story that we're going to get to.
Yeah, that's true. I am hopeful as well to seeing this carried out the right way, the way that not Sony went through this and dealt with it with their retailers, but maybe Microsoft has locked these retailers into these dates and these times, an embargo, so to speak, on this and protecting that, so individuals are able to get this. Because I think a lot of people are going to jump on that $25 Xbox All Access deal when they're like, you know what, I'm an Xbox fan through and through, and I'm ready to go to the next gen with Microsoft.
Right, I could see that happening. And so I've personally been thinking, I think the Xbox Series S will do pretty well, but I've seen some articles saying that a lot of experts think it actually won't do that well.
Yeah.
Apparently, historically, the S versions or the light versions of consoles haven't been a big seller.
Yeah.
I still think it's going to do better than expected, just because $499 is pretty up there. It's consoles are getting more and more expensive, and I can see this as an more affordable option. But we'll see what actually happens if people are going to buy the Xbox Series X or if they're going to settle for the S.
And as you were mentioning, what we're hoping to avoid is this next story, which is, it makes a lot of sense with how some of this went down, and there's speculation around what took place with the PlayStation 5 pre-orders is that it has been learned by PC Mag that there was a bot that bought dozens of RTX 30 units before consumers could even grab them.
Which makes me so mad, and it reminds me of how ticket sales for concerts in the US, they operate just like this, where concert ticket sales go live and in seconds they're all bought up, by bots, just purchasing them to resale them. It seems like something similar has happened here. And you can't compete with these bots. These algorithms are working way faster than you can to get your card information in to make these purchases. So PC gamers everywhere tried and failed to buy NVIDIA's RTX 3080 graphics card as units quickly sold out, but not everyone came up empty. A group of resellers scored the RTX 3080 ahead of average consumers thanks to an automated bot, which was capable of ordering dozens of units from NVIDIA's website instantly.
These resellers have actually been taking to social media to praise the bot's creator, known as Bounce Alerts, a group devoted to helping its members score early access to retail products such as sneakers so that they can be resold at a higher price.
PC Mag spoke to an admin of Bounce Alerts who confirmed the group offered an automated bot to help members purchase the RTX 3080 units on launch day. For $75 a month, members get access to bots and other information to help them quickly buy retail items from companies and resell them.
And this is what that admin said. Our job at Bounce Alerts was to ensure our consumers were able to purchase the product to their needs. And a separate member told PC Magazine that the bot works as an automated script to run basically from the product page to payment information and on to checkout.
The script would monitor when the product would go back into stock, and once it got alerted it was back into stock, it would check out. However, the bot did encounter a challenge. When the RTX 3080 went on sale Thursday morning, NVIDIA's website briefly went down.
So this is what they said, that whenever the site died, they would have to restart the script and hope for it to just go through to the next one. Later adding that they had several members who managed to get one card all the way to 30 or more cards.
The member went on to estimate more than 100 people downloaded and used the bot to make orders on NVIDIA's website, nearly all of which will be resold on the secondary market. On eBay right now, you can already find hundreds of listings for the $699 RTX 3080 card for $1,200 to $2,000 and more.
Now, in response to this, NVIDIA is doing something that I think these other manufacturers should take a look at. NVIDIA said it's going to manually review RTX 3080 orders made from the company's website to try and filter out the scalpers and bots. NVIDIA also told PC Mag that it does limit each RTX 3080 order to one per customer, but Bounce Alert says that it's come up with a way to circumvent those protections.
The news may anger PC gamers who failed to buy the card at normal prices. The NVIDIA forums are already flooded with angry customers who say they never had the chance to place an order on the company's website. One user claimed, "I waited up for 35 hours waiting on this card just for bots to take over the site. That's not fair at all."
And this pretentious response came from the Bounce Alerts admin by saying consumers should blame the limited supplies on the COVID-19 disrupting manufacturing in Asia.
I don't know how this is legal, how
either.
you can just do this. Like, I understand if there's like an official retailer that you can sell to consumers from, but it just feels like a free-for-all. It really is a free-for-all. These bots are just, buying up all these cards. People were saying that, hey, I don't think the cards ever even went on sale on the NVIDIA website because of how fast these bots bought all of them. That in and of itself is what it has to be, because all I read from these reports and some of the forums was people were like, no, I was there the moment the site went live and the option wasn't available to me. So that either means that there was something wrong with the website, or somehow this, which is what makes the most sense, a bot did it so fast that by the time your page loaded, it was like they're already gone. Right, that's what happened. It's just so terrible. I don't know how this is legal. I hope that there's going to be something to prevent this from happening. I applaud NVIDIA for actually trying to take action, because I don't know how much they care. Their cards all sold out. Like, isn't that good for them? Like, they don't really have to care to, you know, intervene here to make sure people get their graphics cards. So I think it's cool that they do care, because they really don't have to.
Yeah, that's the part for me. Like, when I hear the limit one per customer, the other thing that I think of is what happened this morning. Actually, I was fortunate enough, because I have an amazing brother, not just by blood, but by actions and words, that he actually lives up to that title. He had a unique link sent to him from Sony, which was, this is your link specifically to you. So if anyone were to access the link to purchase a PlayStation 5, they would be able to see that and would then be able to block the purchase from going through. So because he made this selection, I was like, oh, that kind of like feels what it's like when you go to check out. This is my unique experience. Right. I have the item. I'm ready to buy and move on. So NVIDIA going through and making sure that they're getting rid of the bots and the scalpers, I'd love that step. What I think they should do is, the ones that they're able to get rid of, create this curated link. Have people sign up.
Yes.
And the people who sign up, and you go through and pick, and then from there, you'll be able to decide, hey, this individual is an actual person who's going to buy the card and use it, not sit on it to resell it for an exorbitant price.
I think that's a great workaround for any naysayers who might be like, well, the bots are going to find a way around that. This has seemed to work for the PlayStation 5, so at least, you know, it's a patch that we can use for now to put on this situation and make sure consumers actually get, you know, their product. Yeah. I think that's great to have an individual link just for you, not just, you know, an open website where any bot could just, you know, go to and purchase as many cards as they possibly can. It also kind of reminds me of, I think for a Taylor Swift concert a few years ago, she was trying to combat, you know, all these bots buying.
Oh yeah.
And I think you had to sign up. It was like a week early.
That's right. I remember hearing this.
You also got like I think it was your own unique code or something like that, and you had to type in your address or your credit card, and they really tried to make it not difficult, but they really made sure you were a real person, you know, who's going to buy one of these tickets.
That makes sense, because these guys, look, NVIDIA is selling its card for its price that it's chosen. It doesn't want someone to come around, buy it up, and resell it because they're all gone and hard to get a hold of because this one person stocked up on it. It's like, pardon my French, all the assholes that stocked up on disinfectant wipes when we were dealing with COVID and reselling them at stupid prices on eBay. It's just like you said, like, how is this behavior legal? How is it allowed? There's got to be a way to crack down on it. And I think this is a way to do it encrypted, you know, take that kind of like blockchain method that you have this unique ID, it is yours, and only you who have signed up for this can access it. We will know if it's a bot trying to come in and buy more or attempt to purchase this without your permission.
I hope that PlayStation also does something like that for the second round of sales that are going to happen, because this has clearly been a problem. I think now I'm thinking it's not just a ton of people trying to buy the PS5, but a ton of people, but more importantly, a lot of bots trying to buy up these units. So I hope that moving forward for these pre-orders, I hope there's a way around that. I also hope that Xbox, you know, has some measure in place to make sure that these, you know, these items aren't just being bought up by bots. Yeah, that's a great point. But we are at the point where we wanted to pay attention to, because today Cyberpunk 2077 released their latest Night City Wire episode, which is episode 3. We did have some stories we were going to talk about, how you can pre-order the Oculus Quest 2 now, and talk about the Nintendo Switch releasing in Brazil. We'll slot those for the next episode, but we want to jump into this because I think we're all stands for Cyberpunk 2077 here at Daily Gaming News. So we're all stands. So we've got a 22-minute, 7-second episode of Night City Wire that we're gonna watch with you. This came out 9 a.m. Pacific just earlier today, and we would love to just sit back, watch, and react.
Let's do it. Grab that popcorn and your synthwave music in the background. Cue it up, because we're about to learn a little bit more about Cyberpunk 2077. Kaisa, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Go.
You don't believe in no fate. Every day digging the grave. Stepping up here with the stakes. City of dreams, city of...
I need this playlist.
Yes. Now.
Hello and welcome to Night City Wire.
I love her.
3.
She's great.
A show from us at CD Projekt Red, where we talk about all things Cyberpunk 2077. In today's episode, we're going to start by taking you on a tour of Night City in a new gameplay video and have a chat with senior level designer Miles. Then we're going to introduce you to the gangs of Night City in another new gameplay video and have a chat with Mateusz from our quest team. Then before we finish today's episode, we're going to give you a look at some of the incredible finalists in our PC case modding contest. And we have some information that PC players have been waiting to hear. So let's get started. It's time to take you on a tour of Night City.
Oh my God, Juanita here. Today's news is Nova Max.
Hi there. New to Night City? It's not so bad here.
How we feeling today? Because I feel amazing.
The food. The Thai on 7th and Haywood. The pierogies down by the docks.
Has so much personality.
I know, so much character.
Your business is my business.
And this is your world news update.
They really put so much thought into like each person.
100% seems like that.
Endless possibilities.
So many vices.
Lies.
We are fucked, America.
And I don't know how we're gonna fix it.
The homeless
This is a mature game,
Night City
so
has risen by 300.
just a heads up.
Crime in Night City is now double the rate than in the new United States.
Dang.
You want to be some kind of hero?
That's a fight this city won't let you win.
On your own, you're fucked.
Oh!
Yo, Keanu.
Keanu,
On
Quebec.
that note, that's it for today's info flash. Sleep tight, Night City. The grass ain't greener anywhere else.
Night City.
I love the
What does it
diversity
mean
in their
to you?
characters too.
How well
That
do
is,
you know
yeah,
its history?
it's so
Who was
good.
Richard Knight? How many stations are in the NCART system? Which city district boasts the best burrito
You can tell they've
in
made
town?
sure to pay attention to
The
that.
answers to these questions and more can be found at the address at the bottom of your screen. Check it out. And
Night
fall
City
in
love.
with Night City all over.
Night City .love. Cool. This soundtrack is banging, man. I need this.
Someone needs to throw a Cyberpunk themed party.
Oh my God, I'm there.
The pandemic's
I'm
over.
ready. I'm ready. November 19th, oh my God.
Well, since Night
always think
City
that
is
guy
one
looks
of
like
our
Justin
stars of
Timberlake.
this episode, there is actually
yeah.
quite a lot to talk about. So let's start at the beginning. How did Night City come to be? Because yes, it exists in the world of the tabletop, but how do you take that and make what we've got now?
Well, yeah, as you can imagine, making a city that is as big and complex as Night City is quite the ambitious project. First off, we sat down and we were really considering what is it that we wanted to do with Night City. In a way, Night City is the star of Cyberpunk, right? It is one of its main characters. We wanted to make a city that is very, very believable, right? I mean, the word immersion gets thrown around a lot, but really, we wanted you to be able to dive into it and
The city
feel like this
itself
is a real place.
a character,
And
yeah.
then secondly, we
It feels
also
like
wanted
one.
to provide enough variety between districts so that exploring Night City would always be fun, right? There's no point in making a city that is all same-ish, and you know, it doesn't really matter where you go because once you've been through one district, you feel like you've been through all of them. So for that, we first off started taking a look at the real-life geography that Night City is located on, and that would be on the coast of California. Knowing that Night City would be a coastal city
I didn't know that.
gave us a bit of insight into what we would expect from the city layout. You'd
Right.
expect the port, you'd expect huge industrial areas that would facilitate this kind of trade that you would assume a city of this type would have with the world. And then we went through and actually divided the city into several districts, 6 of them, and some of them are based on the original lore. We decided to give their own characteristics in terms of architecture, their demographics, the kind of people that would live there, and also the function within the city. Each of these districts, in turn, we divided into further sub-districts, which we further characterized using the more grand theme of the larger district. This process, I think, has resulted in a city that feels quite alive, has a lot of character,
looks like
where each district feels like its own distinct zone without feeling separated from the larger picture.
I do too,
and that
a lot.
results in something that allows the player to easily navigate even the complex concrete jungles of Night City simply by looking around and always having a rough idea where you actually are.
But Night City is clearly so different from anything we've ever created with The Witcher. Can you give us some idea about, or some insight into just how big and like how densely packed Night City really is?
Yes, so I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying that Night City is easily the most complex thing that I or the others have worked on. The city is super organic, right? It's not like a chessboard layout, but the layout of the city is crazy, and you can tell that it grew in phases, right? Where buildings have been built on top of each other, and I guess the mega buildings that we have showcased are a great example of this. You'll actually see that they are located on some kind of pillar, you know, and then expand outside and then up high into the sky. And underneath it, you'll have space for other buildings. This yields a lot of interesting experiences when it comes to exploration. And that's the one thing I'm most excited about for players to experience.
Me too.
We've been saying that our exploration is super vertical, right? But what this really means is that it changes the way you explore the city. Compared to our previous games, you won't be able to easily set out on a target in the distance, right? You won't be able to say, oh, there's a castle on a hill over there, I'll try to get there, and then you'll be lost in the way. But here it's much more intimate, much more moment to moment. You might be roaming the cities and get a call by your fixer who informs you about a job nearby that you might be able to do, right? Or you find an alleyway and you walk down one of the many alleyways that the city has to offer, and it's always a surprise. You don't know if you might stumble upon some gangers hanging out that are up to no good. Sometimes, and these are the moments that
There's something to see down every corner,
upon the odd elevator that is meant to connect parts of the, you know, different layers of the city, and it's quite astonishing sometimes to see where you come out when you enter one of these and, you know, find that, oh, this is actually how it connects to the world. That's crazy. And now
notice how he's talking about it like it's foreign to him,
I can take.
And he's the developer.
Again, this all serves to really enhance this sense of wonder that we all come to love from open world games, and the whole city is built to cater to that.
I mean, you guys have really brought Night City to life, and I really want to make a point of that. It is a living, breathing city. So as a level designer, can you give us some insight into those little touches that you guys have made? Because I hear you guys have even been placing rubbish by hand.
Oh yes, we've been placing quite a bit of rubbish, and that's certainly one of the more glorious parts of being a level designer or an environment artist, where you get to litter the streets that you've spent time building with the garbage. It's details such as this that we find really important to make the city feel alive, and also we take great pride in the process of making this, right? We have a lot of fun actually.
I wonder if that'll actually be a story.
Mini stories, right? These are little encounters that you can find when you simply walk along the streets. Of course, we have huge quests, right? Side quests. We have lots of side activities that you can
just the mini ones are there too.
It always is nice to just kind of stop down for a minute and take a look at your surroundings that we have so lovingly created, and try to see if there maybe isn't something that you can be a little detective for. Now, one other thing that I think is really cool is also the fact that we have actually named every single street in the city. So not only will NPCs be able to communicate their locations or the locations they want you to visit by sort of referring to the street names, but also you will be able to talk to your friends about it in that way, right? Have you been to Poplar Street?
That is cool.
That's awesome.
Intersection. It's like a real city.
Small detail, but the philosophy that we have with
party on Poplar Street.
You know, many small things contribute to the sum of it, which is hopefully then you being able to explore a city that you feel is truly alive and that you haven't been experiencing before.
Well, Miles, thank you so much for giving us your insight. I suppose when the game launches, you could be an official Night City tour guide instead, right?
I might be, yeah. You know, if this game dev thing doesn't work out for me, I might retire and become a tour guide in Night City.
It's hilarious.
Don't forget that if you are tuning in late, or if you just
It makes me wonder if they designed it with that.
we will be uploading everything to our channel.
There's so much going on that they themselves haven't experienced everything that they put in there.
It kind of sounds like it, you know, when he was talking about how the city is foreign to him. I don't think anyone can really know it like the back of your hand, because there's probably such a big team, you know, working on developing it.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Gangs.
You know how things work in Night City? The stronger survive.
Gang, gang.
That's how things stand. You're either somebody, or you fizzle out into nothing.
Dead Sea ain't a city that lets you get by without buddies.
Be very careful, my friend. We are all so far from home.
Which gang's the city's biggest and baddest, according to the NCPD?
Scavs hold the body count title. Or Maelstrom, depending on the season.
One time, a Maelstrom ganger killed a young kid right in front of my eyes for shits and giggles.
Chrome-sucking psychos.
And who the fuck are you to say what can and can't be? I'm gonna introduce you to our meat grinder.
The crazy gang.
Time we had some fun! Think Maelstrom never forgets? Never! I hate these Borg fuckers.
Just a gang like any other, right?
I'll take the Valentinos. They follow God and the Santa Madre. Honor means something to them.
How'd you meet Jackie?
We started out together.
In the Valentinos?
No, in the fucking Bible book club.
I gotta give style points to the Valentinos. They have a punishment for every occasion.
Gangster life, puto! Quick shout out to everyone in Haywood and Santo Domingo. Lately, the Valentinos and 6th Street have had a bigger bone to pick.
6th Street. Why'd they want to wipe you?
I can't fucking stand Tinos.
I've dealt with 6th Street before. We do the run, they'll transfer the cred.
Come on, let's go before 6th Street shows up. Shot! Any more Second Amendment fans in the house? Huh?
This game feels like it's always a party.
Everyone's having some sort of fun.
Right?
Time to bring on the future. Any idea how many attacks from behind the Black Wall we neutralized? If the Voodoo Boys breach the Black Wall, we'll all be fucked.
Voodoo Boys. Urban myth, I thought. Just net runners spooking each other. No such gang.
You know, I heard a few things about you. Voodoo Boys, best runners in town.
You do not steal from the Voodoo Boys. I see you, always.
For them, Pacifica's just Haiti 2.0. Their own island, cut off from the rest of the city.
This is our turf, our home. Until last week, the animals crawled in.
Animals are the craziest fucking gang in the city.
Crazier than the first gang?
Breaker stall!
Animals aren't the play here, are they? They're hired muscle. Someone else needed them.
Damn, she's yoked.
I fucked you over. Yeah, you fucked the gang over. Somewhere at the start of the story.
Do you even lift, bro?
See how this works now?
My husband's new
This is Mango Tea, Mango Salon Tea.
Hey.
They did what made the best eddies. Sold sex and black market tech.
See a lot of tigers.
God, this game looks so good.
Know what else they do well?
Oh my god. I didn't expect there were gonna be these many games.
I gotta do something. Shut the fuck up. The tigers will kill us.
Come on, baby.
Tiger Claws killed one girl too many, so people took matters into their own hands.
Folk went ballistic. Girls, pimps, outcasts, the whole freak show. It's how the Mox got started.
Think you're some kind of gang group now, huh?
Us Moxes have each other's back. We look out for one another. You looking for some company tonight?
How'd you hook up with the Mox?
I thought Susie and the gang could really change something in this city.
Moxes and nomads don't seem so different. Both seem to yammer a lot about community, solidarity. Tell me about the Badlands. Not much going on out here.
Oh my god.
Au contraire.
More gangs. Wow.
More gangs.
Shiv, corporations, and drifters, they form a complete whole. Remove one part, the delicate balance topples.
Here in the Aldecaldos, it all stays in the family.
Classic dilemma. What comes first? Family or the outside world?
This family will go to hell and back.
Everyone in this city lives in their own bubble, and either you fly high or sink into quicksand.
Wow.
That's cool.
That's.
I'm gonna guess there's
Matthew,
a different gang for every section.
Joining
They said
us.
there were like
I
6
have
sections.
personally
Yeah.
been really excited to give people a closer look at the gangs. We've shown a little bit on Twitter, but their styles are so distinct.
Yes, I enjoyed them a lot as well in our game. I think they're very cool.
But let's start then with the kind of role that they play, because gangs really do play a prominent role in Night City, correct?
Yes, definitely. The gangs, they rule the streets of Night City. You know, they have the newest cyberware, they have the newest weaponry, and they are really a power that everyone needs to take into account when they are thinking of operating in Night City. You will encounter them as you explore the city, of course, but also as you complete main quests, side quests, different jobs for the fixers. Sometimes you might even get hired by them.
Oh, wow.
But then, I suppose everybody's thinking then, can you join a gang?
Well, V is a merc, and mercs of Night City are this unique, distinct group that stick mostly to themselves, right?
Cool. Like
They get jobs
Mandalorians.
from variety of factions. They can get jobs from corporations,
Can't
they
join
can
a
get
gang.
jobs from
Yeah.
gangs, they can get jobs from different kind of like influence.
You're there for the work, that's
because
it.
of this, nobody will ever
Kane
trust
says,
a
"I don't need a
merc
gang.
to
My
be
gang is my
one of
fists."
them, right? And the gangs are no exception here. They are looking only for like people that they know will be loyal to them, right? And that they will fight for their cause all of the time,
Yeah,
not just
mercs
some of the
aren't
times
loyal.
when it's profitable to them. So because of this, V will mostly stick to the afterlife. And the afterlife are this group of mercs, this legendary group of mercenaries in Night City. They get the best jobs, they get the most money, the best clients, and so on. So if you want to become a legend in Night City, you are going to the afterlife.
So we've obviously mentioned distinct style then. So does that mean there are kind of special gang-themed weapons and items and clothing for players to find and use?
Yes, definitely. There are
Cool.
different vehicles that you can drive, for example. There are cars, there are motorbikes. Then, of course, there are different pieces of clothing themed after gangs. There are weapons and so on. So, yeah, definitely there are things to look forward to.
I suppose as somebody who's spent as much time as you have kind of getting to know the gangs, I have to ask, which is your favorite and why?
Good question.
I would have to say probably Maelstrom, simply because they have this unique, distinct feel and this weird aesthetic about them. So the idea about Maelstrom is they are people who want to cross the boundary between the machine and human, right? They are changing so much of their body with cyberware that they no longer look human, really. On top of that, they're also very unpredictable. It's very difficult to say what they will do at any point when you meet them. At one moment, they can be shaking hands with you, and at the other moment, you know, they will pull gun out on you, and they bring in this element of chaos into the game, which I really enjoy personally.
Oh, Matty, thank you so much for joining us. It's always interesting to learn what your favorite
level
gang
of
is. I think
detail.
it kind of tells me a little bit about you.
Oh, does it? What does it say about me?
Well, we'll talk about that later. But for now, before we wrap up today's episode, we asked people to show us their creativity and design a PC case mod, Cyberpunk.
Oh, nice.
Our panel of judges selected 5 finalists, and we teamed them up with professional
What's up,
case
silly
modders
one?
to bring their concept to reality.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's a cool contest.
Yeah.
These 5 amazing designs will be fighting for the main prize, an Alienware Aurora PC, along with other awesome gaming peripherals. Brought to you by our partners, Alienware,
2080
NVIDIA,
Ti is old news, Cyberpunk.
What is that?
Let's see the mods.
I absolutely love this one.
The whole aesthetic works with each other.
That's so cool.
Absolutely next level. Honestly, kind of terrifying.
Voodoo boys.
I feel like they're going to have a soundtrack that I'm just always going to be listening to.
It really looks like it could have come straight out of the game.
Yeah, this looks like a convention piece, or like something you'd have in a case on display.
That one, the Maelstrom looking one, is crazy. Like the spider.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
To watch the full PC case modding video and to get more information about when the winning design will be available on charity auction, stay tuned to our social media channels.
Charity auction.
Looking at those PC case mods, it reminds me that we do have one more thing to reveal.
Oh yeah, their specs.
If you're going to be playing Cyberpunk 2077 on PC when it launches this November, we do have some specs to share that I think some of you have been waiting for. The minimum system requirements for Cyberpunk are a Windows 7 or 10 PC, an Intel Core i5 3570K or AMD FX 8310, 8 gigs of RAM, and an NVIDIA GeForce GTX
I'm impressed by how you don't need a great
AMD
PC
Radeon
to play this game.
Yeah.
70. In the storage department,
Like you can play it on a
the game will take
780
up roughly
graphics
70
card.
gigs of
Wow.
space, and although it will run off a HDD, we do recommend an SSD.
Yeah, for sure.
As for the recommended specs, you're in the green if you're rocking Windows 10, an Intel Core i7 4790 or AMD Ryzen 3 3200G, 12 gigs of RAM, and an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1060 or AMD Radeon R9 Fury.
Love
Thank
it.
you so much for joining
That's pretty
us
big
for episode
for
3
for
of Night City
minimum
Wire.
specs.
Don't forget
Yeah,
that if
for
you
this
missed
game, I mean, you
anything,
saw
or
how
if
big
you
Night
just
City
want to
was.
watch again,
That was
we will be
crazy.
uploading everything to our channels shortly, and we will be back soon with episode 4.
Wow. November 19th. We are 2 months and a day away from this finally gracing our existence.
Watching these Night City Wire episodes, I'm like, how long is the playtime on this game?
That is a great question, because I think there's what was with The Witcher? I think they said it was like 70 hours if you do the main and side missions, but more obviously if you go outside and do just like a bunch of random stuff. This feels easily 100+ hours.
Easily. I feel like I think I spent like 108 hours in Skyrim, and I did a ton of side quests, and I didn't even do as many as I would have liked. I could see this game, being something that you're going to explore for a long time, even if you don't restart with a new character. I feel like you could spend so much time in this game.
Yeah. Kai, I am going to be playing this on PC, just with the specs of my PC, and the PlayStation 5 will be comparable, but I'm more looking for the PlayStation 5 for a lot of those exclusives and the experience that you'll get on that console. But yeah, I'm definitely playing Cyberpunk on PC, and I cannot wait to start just getting in there and exploring. I wholeheartedly believe that I will not do the main story my first playthrough, that I will just want to wander, Night City and see what I can get into and find maybe what some item is lurking upon some, door or elevator. Just hearing that level designer talk about the game in a manner that seems like he himself hasn't got to experience everything that's in the game is extremely exciting for that exploration aspect of the gameplay.
For me, with these open world games, I'm always like, I want to explore everything. I get really bad FOMO if I don't do all the side quests I can and explore all the corners I can. But I'm also like, but I want to know what happens in the main story, but I don't want the game to end too soon. And I know even after, generally for open world games, if you finish the main quest, you can still go around and explore. But for me, like once the credits roll, like the game's done, or like once the main quest is done, the game feels done.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is one of those games that I'm going to play kind of like Breath of the Wild, where I just use it to like explore. Like it's not about the story. It's about the experience. It's about being in Night City. It's about getting to know all these gangs. Chat says I would just drive around for hours in this game. There is so much to explore. There
really is. And to the multiplayer question, it's coming out later. They did mention it, that it will be present. It's probably going to be about a couple years after the game's release, which is great because it seems like it's going to be a couple of years before we feel like we've explored enough of the world and what it has to offer. And I just think about this, right? If we see this many gangs and we see this much story rooted in the landscape that already is Cyberpunk 2077, and we know each playthrough will be a different experience for everyone based on how you choose to make your character and you know what beginning path you pick for them what is the response like from the city to you as a player when you're navigating, you know, if you're from the Outlands and you're navigating around those gangs, do they seem to recognize you and not treat you as an outcast? Whereas if you're from the corporate and you've journeyed out there and you're dealing with those gangs and they're like, oh, this is like a corporate, that element, just on that tiny little detail of what you'll experience in gameplay is like, oh, wow. Once I get a playthrough, I want to jump through and play through again. But now as this whole new character with this whole new backstory so that I can go see what that, you know, part of Night City is going to respond to me, how that part of Night City is going to respond to me.
And I know that there are so many different, you know, paths you can take through this game. It's not really just like one main quest. You can technically finish the game, you know, just going a very circuitous way with your decisions. I also wonder how much you can kind of change mid game, or how there are micro, you know, decisions that affect the gameplay. For example, if you wear the outfits of one gang near another gang, as you said, like, are they going to treat you, you know, in a hostile way? Will that open up a different quest that, you know, maybe you didn't have access to?
Yeah, and the whole remember that one piece that they talked about where it's like you might meet a character that you really like and you see a weapon that they have that's really cool. Your choice as the player is, do you get rid of this person or let this person die so you can get their weapon, or do you keep them around so that they benefit you in terms of the storytelling and maybe some of the mission experiences? That is something that's really cool. And then the black market that Silly One is mentioning is another area of the game they haven't done a lot of talk on, but you know it exists, and you can go and get these illegal modifications done, which also changes the way the Night City world reacts to you by seeing these mods on you that they know are like, that's illegal. This person is walking around with this illegal product on them.
I wonder how much with your reputation is kind of your morality gauge, because after just having played BioShock, where I chose to be, you know, a wonderful person and I got a wonderful ending, you know, now I'm like, oh, I want the good ending. And I wonder if, you know, making those decisions of killing someone for the weapon is going to make you, you know, have a bad ending or be seen as more of a villain, if that comes into play at all, or if this game doesn't really, you know, address that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also the whole, and they mentioned this regarding Maelstrom, like you don't know what they're going to do or how they're going to behave, but listening to them describe that about the gang it goes hand in hand with the whole, you could be in a dialogue with someone and you need to pay attention to what's going on around you, because there could be some sort of, boom, the dialogue's over, someone's pulling a gun and now you're in this shootout, and you've got to be prepared for that when that occurs. That's I feel like you know, one of those, hey, heads up, players, this is something you might face, especially when you come across some of these, you know, some of these people that you don't know what their true intent is. And that's, again, just another layer of detail that adds to the overall experience that seems like it's going to be endless.
I'm curious to see how long the hype is going to last, at least on Twitch, for this game.
Yeah.
You know, people are going to be doing like 48-hour streams where they just burn through, you know, technically half the game, you know, if it is like 100-hour or so playtime, and how quickly people are going to, you know, be about Cyberpunk, because it takes, I'm pretty slow at finishing games in general, but I know that a lot of, you know, people on Twitch, you know, go through them pretty quickly, or a lot of the top streamers, they just only, you know, play what's trending, and not, they don't necessarily, you know, are going to be a Cyberpunk streamer. So I'm really curious to see, you know, how long that hype is actually going to last.
See, what's interesting is for me, I've been thinking about Cyberpunk as like a game to focus on primarily, specifically for streaming and for content, because there is so much there to dive into and to dig into, that once multiplayer comes around, and I don't think CD Projekt Red has had any type of, you know, commentary on mods, but I will expect that at some point they will open that door for the modded community to get in there and have fun. What does that mean for Night City? How will that change things? And just, again, add more, you know, trails of exploration and content creation to branch off from what seems to be a very strong foundation that is Night City.
It seems that they have created that strong foundation, you know, with this animated series coming out, with this multiplayer coming out. It makes me wonder if at some point they're going to have like Cyberpunk Online, because I feel like with those mods, you know, the opportunities are, it's just limitless as what they could do. It seems like they've put a lot of care into creating this, and they do have, you know, the idea of carrying this game on for years. This isn't just a standalone, you know, it's really relevant, and it really reaches to a lot of different types of media.
And you just said it right there, is like, it feels like they've created this game for years to come. And that this is going to be one of those titles that you just keep talking about and hearing about, from DLC to multiplayer, whatever that is actually going to be when that drops. Yeah, I don't think Cyberpunk 2077 is going to go the way of like, oh, we're interested and then we're not interested anymore. I think they've put a lot into this, and CD Projekt Red has the respect of the masses within the gaming community that I think they're just going to be chomping at the bit for more content, and they know it.
They know it. But that does bring us to the end of our news for today, September 18th. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, DGN family, for stopping by and chatting and giving amazing comments and joining in on this wonderful conversation that is everything going on in the gaming industry.
If you'd like to submit any questions or comments or topic suggestions, you can do so at !mailbag. That is also a command that works in my Discord if you know, something comes to mind. And we're posting reruns and, you know, segments of our show on our YouTube as well. To anyone watching on YouTube, we are live from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific time every weekday.
And we do have our next developer interview next Friday, so make sure you tune in on Friday, as we will be discussing this indie dev's game and everything going on around it, and more will be coming out next week as we put out some social media posts and just promote just another interview that we're excited to have here on Daily Gaming News.
I would say see you all next Monday, but Marrone is streaming later today, and I'm streaming later tonight.
So see you later today.
Yeah. So we'll both be seeing you later today. Marrone's streaming pretty soon, right? Maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah, probably in like 30 minutes. Gonna be playing some Warzone, getting ready for a tournament this weekend.
Nice, and I'll probably start around 11 p.m. Pacific or so a bit later on.
Awesome. So make sure to tune in, check out. We, again, can't do this without all of you amazing human beings who stop in and continue to support us here at Daily Gaming News. But for this hour on September 18th, 2020, I am Marrone.
I am Kaisa. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on this channel next Monday.
See ya on this channel next Monday, everybody.